hit the button. Can you hear me now? No.
I hit it again.
There you go. Good evening, everybody. Oh. It needs batteries, Rick. Good evening, you guys. Thank you for coming to your opportunity night on Tuesday night. Thank you, Christina. My name is Amy.
Hi, Amy.
Sorry, I got distracted by the speakers. Yes, my name is Amy. I'm a regional vice president out of the Rochester Hills office. We appreciate you guys coming out tonight. A little bit about me. I want you guys to know anyone can do this business first and foremost. I was a former interior designer who came here part-time, spare time, just to make an extra $500. Okay? I have no intentions of doing this full-time or being an RVP. Thank you. So I just want you guys to know when Ian gives this presentation to keep your mind open to what your strong suits are. If you're good with people, you can do this. I want you guys to know that if any one of you are just great with people, keep your mind open because you can do this. I had zero intentions of coming here to be a regional vice president and doing this full time. 3 years later, I do this full time and I wouldn't go back, okay? So I have the honor, and I'm super excited tonight, to introduce the person who will be giving you the presentation. You guys are very, very fortunate to be here today at this time because our 77th millionaire, Ian Prukner, will be giving our presentation for you guys. A little bit about him. I want you guys to know that he is one of the most humble, one of the nicest, and one of the most self-serving people to our organization. I'm so blessed to be in this organization with him and with all of my partners in this, that you guys came on a great night to hear a phenomenal speaker. Okay, so please welcome Ian Prukner.
Good evening, everybody. I'm excited to be here with you guys. And Amy is just a superstar. She's helped launch one of our other satellite offices that's going incredibly well right now. Unfortunately, they lost some power, I guess, and so they're here with us tonight. But I'm excited because 12 years ago, my life was really different than it is now. I was just getting started in this business, and I was a pastor at a church. So I didn't know anything about business, didn't know anything about money and finance. I played music professionally at a church. That's what I did. And through a series of pay cuts at the church, I started looking for different things that I could do to make money on the side, right? So I was teaching music lessons, took a pretty big pay cut at the church, and I would do anything to make an extra $100 that was legal. I would sing at your wedding, I'd sing at your funeral, right? If you died, your family give me $100, I'd sit there next to you and sing your favorite song, right? Okay, it was really bizarre stuff, right? And so I ended up interviewing to be a night manager at Rite Aid. I actually just met somebody here today who works at Walgreens or something, right? So my plan to make $250 a month, which is what my pay cut was to go and work a third job, midnights at Rite Aid, a couple of nights a week for $14.55 an hour. And so that's what I did. I decided I was going to do that. I interviewed and was just about to start. And my boss at the church one day comes to me and says, "Hey, Ian, are you still trying to make some extra money?" And I said, "Stephen, with all due respect, you see what you pay me." That's a really dumb question, right? Of course I'm trying to make extra money. And he says to me this. He says, "There's this guy that goes to the church. He does this thing." That's what he calls it. He says he does this thing, and you could do it part-time, and you'd probably be good at it. You should go talk to him. And so 12 years ago, I saw a presentation very similar to what you're going to see tonight, okay? And I looked at it, and my thought was, I've got to be smart enough to make a little bit of money doing this, okay? And so really, there's one of three reasons you're probably here tonight. The first reason is you're looking for a part-time income. And if that's you, look no further. This is the premier opportunity in American business to earn a substantial part-time income. Guys, I have people in this office that make $40,000, $45,000, even $50,000 a year on a part-time basis, okay? So this is the best opportunity in American business for part-time income. You might be number two here looking for a full-time income opportunity, a career change, an opportunity to own your own business, create a residual income. Look no further. Primerica has more people earning $100,000, $250,000, $500,000, even $1 million a year than any company in American business. You just Google that and see that in about 10 seconds, okay? The third reason you may be here is somebody has dragged you here against your will. Any of you in the audience tonight? So 1, 2. Okay, so even you two ladies, listen, you're going to have a ball tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you're going to learn a ton, okay? So when I looked at this, there were 4 questions that I wanted answered before I made a decision to get involved. And many of you have already made a decision to get involved, and you're here kind of checking it out for a second look. Some of you are on the fence. You're not sure if you want to get involved, okay? And there were 4 questions I wanted answered. Number 1 was this a legitimate company? So the last thing I wanted to do was be a pastor by day and a swindler by night, right? Okay, it's important to me that I was doing a good, honest, reputable thing. Number 2 question I had was, is there a need for what this company does in the marketplace? Okay, because y'all, how many of y'all have been approached by some sort of deal that recruits people, right? And they're selling the patch or the girdle or the whatever, right? And they're like, you know, it grows, if you have an arm amputation, it'll grow your arm back, but it's not FDA approved, so I can't really say that, but it's really right. And it's like this whole hype deal, and I didn't want to be in that, right? I worked at the church, so I saw all of them, right? The ringleader get in, and like 3 weeks later, everybody be in. 4 weeks later, the ringleader's coming through, people are diving under the pews, they're running for the bathrooms because they don't want to be hit up about the $129 bottle of Miracle Juice again, right? And I didn't want to be that guy. I wanted to do something that was important with my life, something that people respected and was an actual need out in the community, okay? The third question that I wanted to have answered was, could I do it? Because if you can't do it, there's really no point in how good it is, right? Does that make sense? For example, being in the NBA could be a great financial plan for me. I could make $10 million a year. I could have my own Nike shoes. It'd be awesome, except I'm 5'11", 190 pounds, and I'm white, right? So that dream sailed a long time ago. So even though it would be good, it's not applicable to me, right? Does that make sense? And so I wanted to know, could I do it, right? And that's something that I would encourage you to answer tonight. And if the answer is no, please don't get involved with us, okay? But if the answer is yes, that'll bring you to question number 4, which is it going to be worth it, okay, for me to succeed here? Because the truth is, many of you, including me, right, I went to college, I got good grades, went to school, got a degree. I did all the things that I was told to do, and yet I still wasn't winning, right? Any of you feel that way? I did all the things I was told to do and still wasn't winning. What I found out is I was winning in a broken system, right, okay? And you'd be the best engineer in the world working over there for Chrysler. But you're never going to make more than $120,000. You're going to work till you're 65 and hope you can retire. That's your game plan. Not maybe, 100%. That's what's happening, right? And so I wanted to know, hey, before I put time and effort into this, if I succeed at this, can I have what I want out of my life? And my charge to you tonight is, if the answer is not an unequivocal yes, don't get involved with this. Don't waste your time. Go do something else, right? Because if you can't win, why play the game? Everybody fair, right? That makes sense? All right, very good. So at the end of tonight's presentation, you're going to be a 1, a 2, or a 3, okay? A number 1 is somebody who looks at this and says, you know what? I hate helping people, okay? This is totally not for me. I also hate making money. I'm not interested, okay? If you're in a number 1, please don't feel even compelled to stay, okay? You just get up, give us a number 1, walk on out. We'll know why you're leaving. Just make sure it's this one and not the next one, okay? And we'll know why you're going, okay? So you don't need to stay. A number 2 is somebody who looks at this and says, you know what, I'm not sure I want to do this for a business or an income opportunity, but I would be straight foolish to not take the financial concepts I learned here tonight and learn how to apply them to my own personal finances, okay? For free, for coming out here tonight as our guest. One of our advisors will sit with you and put together a complimentary, in detail financial plan that will teach you how to use the concepts I'm going to teach you tonight on your own personal finances, okay? So if nothing else, at least get your own finances in order, okay? Number 3 is somebody like me who looks at this and says, if half of what this guy said was true, I've got to be able to make a little bit of money doing this. And if that's you, please don't leave here tonight without taking a moment and getting started with us on a part-time or spare time basis, okay? So let's go ahead and get started and talk about a little bit about who is Primerica, okay? So Primerica is the largest independent financial services marketing organization in North America. We have 126,000 representatives. 126,000. We are listed on the New York Stock Exchange under ticker symbol PRI. We've been in business since 1977. Which is 41 years, right? More than 5 million life insurance clients, 2 million investment clients, okay? We've been doing this for a while. We got a lot of people. Go ahead and go to the next slide there. So if you take a look at the major shareholders in our company, we're publicly traded. What does that mean? You could buy stock. You could buy stock. Well, here's some of the major shareholders. Companies like Vanguard. Any of you have a 401k? Okay, if you have a 401k, you have Vanguard, you have Barron Funds. What are these companies, okay? If you take a look at this, over half the outstanding shares are owned by 2 sorts of companies, investment firms and mutual funds, okay? People who buy and sell stock on a corporate level for profit, right? Are they buying companies they think are doing well or doing poorly? right? Doing well. So take a look at that, right? Okay, Forbes. Any of you ever heard of Forbes, right? The Forbes 400, pretty credible source in business. Would you agree, right? Forbes named us in 2015 one of the 50 most reputable and trustworthy companies in the financial services space. That is a big deal. Okay, take a look at this. Any of you ever seen any of these stores? Blockbuster, JCPenney, Sears, Kmart? What happened to these guys? They're out of business. How did they go out of business? Amazon, right? Okay? Amazon put these guys out of business. Why? They had a better model. You don't have to go to a brick and mortar store. It comes to you, right? It comes to you. And so they put these guys out of business. Well, any of you who have ever heard of Morningstar, Morningstar is the investment encyclopedia. It is the investment authority. There's nothing higher than Morningstar when it comes to understanding financial companies and investments. And here's what Morningstar said about Primerica. They said Primerica will be as disruptive to the financial services industry as Amazon was to the retail industry. Why? Because we go to them. That makes sense? The traditional industry, you get dressed up, go into a big fancy glass building, and a guy with a suit on talks down at you. Right? And that's what they do. And if you don't have $250,000 to invest, they don't even want you. Right? And we have in-home delivery to average middle-income Americans. Dalbar, the Mutual Fund Service Award, 15 years running, we win in mutual fund service to our clients. What does that mean? Our clients deem us one of the top companies in the investment world to do business with in terms of the ability to service and take care of our clients. AM Best rates us A+, which is superior in terms of financial strength. They're the rating agency that rates every company that offers insurance products. We're superior, excellent with them. Go ahead and go to the next slide here. Free Advice takes a look at this and it asks a question. Overall, how satisfied are you with your insurance company? So here's some insurance companies you probably heard of. Any of you ever heard of State Farm? Right? New York Life, Allstate, like a good neighbor, right? State Farm's there. You're in good hands, okay? Well, here's what customer reviews say about these companies. If you take a look, the yellow is rated as very unsatisfied, okay? The white is unsatisfied. So yellow and white, bad, okay? Dark blue is extremely satisfied. So I just want you to take a look at the pie charts here. These are mega companies. And so what is this site? This is a consumer-facing site where people can go on and review their companies. Now, in all fairness, do you think they go on and just review State Farm because they're so happy with them? Or do they review them when they don't want to pay a claim, take too long, charge it right, okay? So in all fairness and disclosure, this is kind of a complaining board, right, okay? And you can go and read the hundreds and hundreds of comments that people leave. Okay, so take a look. Look at this, Mutual of Omaha. 76% is extremely unsatisfied. Okay, New York Life actually has pretty much the best rating on here at 68% extremely satisfied, 26% unsatisfied or extremely unsatisfied. Okay, so still a quarter of a company you keep, right, that plays ads through the entire Super Bowl nonstop. 26% come on here and say, I didn't like this deal. Okay, these are some of the most reputable companies in our industry. Take a look at how Primerica stacks up to this. What do you like to see? Blue, right? Okay, take a look. Out of the hundreds of companies consumer reviewed, there is only one number one, and that is Primerica. Folks, the regulators love us, the consumers love us, the industry can't stand us. We take 50,000 of their clients away from them every month because we have a better way. We are a one-stop shop financial supermarket with home delivery. And what Amazon did to the retail industry, we are now doing to the financial services industry. And so look, it's not just Primerica. When you're in business with Primerica, you're in business for yourself, but not by yourself. Look at some of these big names, right? 401k plans through AXA. Voya, you've got annuities through AIG, Lincoln, AXA, Bright House, managed investments, mutual funds through companies like Franklin Templeton, American Funds, Fidelity. Okay, we've got legal protection, ID theft. We've got Genworth and LTCI on long-term care, Answer Financial, Vivint Smart Home, and we've got life insurance through the top-rated life insurer, the #1 insurer of term insurance in America, Primerica Life. So this is a huge suite of services that you have the ability to offer to people across the kitchen table. And here's our mission. Our mission is to help families earn more income, become properly protected, debt-free, and financially independent. Okay, so I want you to stop and think about this for a second. The first question was what? Is this a legitimate business? We've been in business for 41 years. We have 7 million clients. We're publicly traded. There's 75 million outstanding shares, half of that owned by investment firms, right? We're regulated by FINRA, the Securities and Exchange Commission, all 50 states' Department of Insurance. Folks, is this a legitimate company? Hopefully you can check the box. Yes, I've seen enough on that, okay? So question number 2 was what? Is there a need in the marketplace for what this company does? So let's go ahead and take a look at this and how this works. So how do most people manage their money? That's the million-dollar question. They don't. There's too much money at the end of the money, and it just revolves over and over. So take a look at the crisis. And folks, it's a crisis. It is a financial Armageddon that's happening out there and to the American middle class that's never been seen before. More than half of Americans, according to CNBC last year, have less than $1,000 in savings. How long are you going to retire on $1,000?
Not very long.
Not long. More than half. Why? Because people don't know they need to save money? No. How many of you took a class in high school called Mutual Fund Investing and how it works? The 3 ways a mutual fund makes money. How to open a Roth IRA. Right? Nobody. Right? Okay? But yet when you went to college, they had applications for Visa, Discover, MasterCard. No Roth IRA applications. Right? Okay? Nobody understands this. Almost 75% of Americans admitted they should have started saving for retirement way earlier than they actually did. So not only are they not educated in how to do it themselves, but the financial industry is turning their nose up at the middle class. Merrill Lynch doesn't pay their advisors to take on accounts with less than $250,000 in them. Morgan Stanley, $200,000. Even Edward Jones, the neighborhood investment shop, raising their minimums. Folks, listen. Nobody will help them, no education. That is a massive opportunity if you have a way to bring that education to the masses through people who help people, okay? Look at protection. Almost 70% of households would feel the financial impact from the loss of the primary wage earner, okay, within 2 years or less. And that's not even right, okay? Within 30 days, half of Americans would have problems paying even basic necessities like food, housing, right, insurances, and communication with the loss of a breadwinner, okay? Nearly half, 48% of U.S. households don't have enough life insurance. And actually right now, over 90 million people are walking around in the United States of America with 0 life insurance. The problem is all 90 million will die at some point, right? And they'll either be prepared or unprepared. How many of you took a class in high school called the different sorts of life insurance and which one you should have? Okay? None, right? How about college? So you go to school in the richest, most educated country in the history of the planet Earth. You can calculate the angle of an isosceles triangle because that's useful on a daily basis. But term insurance, mutual funds, and get out of debt, who needs that? Right? Who would ever want to know these things? Folks, it's stacked against you. Take a look at debt. Debt is a cancer right now in America. About 40% of Americans spend up to half their monthly income servicing debt. Paying interest on things we've already bought. U.S. households with debt carry an average credit card balance, revolving interest of over $15,000 that's accruing interest on them every single day. Go ahead and go to the next slide. If you take a look at the income opportunity, any of you get the advice to go to school, go to college, get good grades, and get a good job, right? Okay? And listen, 100 years ago, 75 years ago, even 50 years ago, that plan worked. How many of you had parents or grandparents, they worked for the big three, a manufacturer, they worked for 20, 30 years, they got a pension, they retired, everything was great, right, okay? Today that doesn't exist, right? The American worker leaves their job on average every 3.5 years for another job. No pensions, they're gone. It's like the word dinosaur, doesn't exist, right, okay? 78% of full-time workers report that they stress about money. They don't have enough income at the end of the month. So how real and serious are these problems? The answer is super serious. In fact, I don't know of many more serious problems. Stop and think about this. Most of you get up Monday through Friday in the morning and you drive where? To work. To get what? Money. Any of you going for fun? Nope. They stop paying you, you still come? Right, okay? No? Okay. So listen, The greatest hours of the greatest years of your life are being spent dealing with money. And yet, you and 300 million other people have very little idea of how it works or how to get ahead with it. Would you agree with that? Okay? What company do you know that's focused on helping Main Street families solve this problem? There's not one other than us. We're the only game in town focused on the middle income. So think about this. Most people don't plan to fail. They don't wake up in the morning and say, today's a great day to get irreparably in debt, just stress about finances, have a heart attack in 3 years from the stress, right? Lose my home, not have any savings. Nobody wakes up and says that. They just also don't wake up and say, today's a great day to get a plan and get educated, right? So they don't plan to fail. What do? They fail to plan. And the problem is this. Here's you, right? And you've got life insurance, you've got credit cards, you've got a mortgage, you've got car loans, auto insurance, homeowner's insurance, you got a 401k at work, an IRA, right? And you got all sorts of 12, 15 different companies doing these things for you. And when's the last time these guys came to your house, all of them, on the same night, and said, all right, guys, let's put the papers out, let's get the books open, let's see what we're all doing, make sure it makes sense, right? When's the last time that appointment happened? When's the next appointment? Never. Right? Okay? Well, here's the plan. The plan is a customized, confidential financial needs analysis, a financial GPS that looks at all those things with one person. They can do all those things and says, hey, you know what? Maybe if you did this change and this change and this change and took that money and put it here, you'd get ahead. Right, okay? So it's never going to happen with what people are doing now, but in 90 minutes at their home, free of charge with a licensed advisor, they can have a free written financial plan that's going to highlight 3 concepts that I'm going to teach you tonight that if you apply will change your life forever financially, okay? How many of you have ever heard of something called the Rule of 72 that don't currently work here? Raise your hand. Take a look around. None, okay? How many of you have ever heard of a guy named Benjamin Franklin? Raise your hand. How many of you don't raise hands? A couple of you. Okay, so Benjamin Franklin was actually a pretty smart guy. He was actually one of the country's first millionaires, back when $1 million could buy you like 4 states. Okay, so he had a lot of money, and he's attributed with coming up with the Rule of 72. And what the Rule of 72 says is you take whatever interest rate you can earn on your money, right? Divide it into 72, and the number you get is the amount of time it takes money to double. So let's pretend, for example, your retirement plan was put $10,000 away in your retirement account and never contribute another dollar. I don't recommend that as your plan, but let's just say that was your plan, okay? Well, if you put it in an account earning 3%, the Rule of 72 says 72 divided by the percent, 3% is 24, right? Okay? It takes 24 years for money to double at 3%. So your 10 grand becomes 20. 24 years later, it becomes 40. So your 10 grew to 40. Pretty cool, right? Okay? Watch this. If you double the interest rate, same 10,000, same amount of time. Everything in your mind tells you how much money should be there. Double. You double the rate, same time, same dollars. Watch this. It takes only half the time to double, but you actually end up with 4 times more money. Jeez. Folks, that's called magic, okay? That's called compounding interest. Albert Einstein said it was the most powerful force in the universe, the force of compounding. Now watch this. This is a trick, okay? So if you could earn 12%, that's double the 6. So again, your first thought is, it's got to be double. But you know better because you just saw it was 4. So your next thought is, well, I don't know why, but I think it should be 4 times. But watch what happens here. The same 10,000, okay, at a 6-year doubling period ends up being $2.5 million. 16 times. So it wasn't double, it was 4, and then it wasn't double again, it was 16. Folks, this is magic. Why? Because most people go and stick their money, if they save it at all, in a bank that pays what? 1. Let's do the Rule of 72. Any of you math geniuses? 72 divided by 1 is what? 72. That's a long time before your money doubles. Most of us will not be on the planet any longer by the time our 10 grand turn into 20 grand, right? But what we could do is we can learn how and where the banks take the money and invest it for ourselves using what? Knowledge and education, okay? Knowledge is power. No, applied knowledge is power. Go ahead and go to the next slide, okay? So take a look. If you wanted to have $1 million saved for retirement, which by the way is not enough. So how can $1 million not be enough? Well, $1 million is 50 grand a year for 20 years and you're out of money. Okay, you know anybody living the high life on 50 grand a year? Okay, right? So if you save $200 a month at 25 years old, okay, you'll end up with $1 million by the time you're 67, very conservatively. What if you wait an extra 10 years, right? Because how many people, right, any of you ever been approached by a financial advisor to get your $200 a month started? Anybody? No, okay. So they don't care because it's $200, right? So you don't know what to do, so you do nothing. And the people who know what to do don't care about you, so you do nothing. And 10 years goes by on you. Any of you realize that? Time's flying, right? So now you're 35. Now you got to save $448 a month, more than double to get to the same place. Any of you ever had a financial advisor approach you about your $448 a month? Look at the hands. They're flying up, right? Okay? So you still don't know what to do because you haven't gotten educated in this because nobody taught you. And the financial industry still doesn't care. So what do? Nothing. And what happens? 10 years goes by on you. Now you're 45. You've got to save $1,200 a month to get to where you could have gotten from $200 a month. Folks, this is not hard to understand, right? At this point, most financial advisors will start talking to you if you're willing to save $1,000 a month. Then you got an extra G a month laying around, right? Maybe one or two of you, okay, but not too many. Take a look at age 55, what happens? Now you got to save $3,800 a month to get there. 19 times more money. That's crazy. Folks, listen, if somebody would have told you when you were 18 years old, you back this up, run the rule of 72 against it, right? You, for 75, 80 bucks a month, would be a cash millionaire. At 67, how many of you would have done it? Why didn't you? Because nobody taught you and nobody cares. Folks, we'll open investment accounts for people, teach them this, and set these up for $0 to start and a minimum subsequent investment of as little as $25. There's no company on the planet Earth, not your bank, not your 401k, no one will open an account for you for $25 besides Primerica. Why? We care about the middle class. And we understand that it doesn't take a lot of money to become wealthy. It takes a lot of knowledge and some application of that to get wealthy. So let's take a look at debt. Okay, most of you know people that are in debt, yes, okay? So we teach a concept called debt stacking. So here's what happens. Here's age 35. They got a couple of credit cards, student loan, a car loan, a mortgage. $2,700 a month being serviced on that debt, okay? So here's what most people do. Guess what? Sooner or later, those credit cards will pay off, right? They're set to pay off generally about 20 years, okay? So sooner or later, it does pay off, right? So that $220 a month payment stops because you paid it off, right? So guess what most people go do the following day? They buy something for $220 a month because they think, I'm never going to get out of debt anyway. Still got all this debt. Who the heck cares? I'm just going to be in debt forever. I literally meet clients all the time who tell me they don't ever plan on being out of debt. Okay, but watch this. With a little bit of planning and a financial concept called debt stacking, watch what happens. When we take that $220 that pays off, right? We said you were already paying it, Casey. We're still going to pay it, okay? But we're going to pay it in order. We're going to put it on this next debt. So watch what happens here. That $220 gets added on to the minimum payment, right? Still the same payment, but we're doubling it up now on this one, which pays that one off faster than just paying the minimum. So when that pays off ahead of time, what are we going to do with that money? We're going to take it and roll it onto the next debt in the sequence, right? So what's happening here the whole time? The payments are staying the same, but we have a plan and a process for the money. How much extra is this costing them? $0, right? Okay, but watch what happens. Go all the way through this. Okay, eventually this pays off. Take a look at the outcome here. Okay, if we can go ahead and put that on the screen. So if you do not pay debt stacking and you do not get any additional debt, this debt load would take 23 years to pay off, paying just the minimums and not having a plan, okay? And they pay $214,000 in finance charges, right? That's like 4 or 5 years of the average person's salary to interest, okay? By doing it, this same debt pays off in 9 years. At age 44, this 35-year-old is debt-free, home and everything, and it costs them what? Nothing. Zero. Folks, that's unbelievable, right? This is stuff that credit card companies, banks, even the federal government who finances your student loans does not want you to understand. Imagine you could talk to people you knew and you could say this to them, for free, I can in 20 minutes teach you a way to take your debt and pay it off in a third of the time, save you $100,000 or $200,000 in interest. I'm not going to ask you for a nickel in return. Just that you'd introduce me to some more people that might need that. Any of you know somebody who needs to learn this concept, right? Now watch this. Once the debts are paid off, you are paying how much a month? $2,700. You are going to be paying it for how many years? If you didn't buy anything else, right? You're already going to be paying the money. So what do? We pay it off early and we keep paying the money. Even after it pays off, who do we pay? You. We pay ourselves, right? We stick that money in the mutual funds we just talked about. Take a look at this. So we take the $2,700 a month. We don't have to pay anymore. Why? Because we're debt free. We invest it. At age 67, that's a cool $2.4 million in cash. Folks, are these people wealthy? This is a 35-year-old in what? In debt. Who learned a concept to get out of debt and a concept to save money and followed a plan that was free of charge. Folks, that is magical. Let's talk about life insurance, everybody's favorite subject, right? Okay. So we teach a concept called the theory of decreasing responsibility. It's not actually a concept, it's how life works. So in the early years, if you have dependents like a spouse or children, or you have a mortgage, okay, a loss of income would devastate your family, right? Okay, so if you die and you don't have life insurance and you have bills and dependents, that's game over for them. They're up a creek without a paddle forever, right? Okay, but fast forward, right? In the later years, your kids are grown adults, your mortgage is paid off, you have $1 million or $2 million in cash. You don't really need life insurance anymore. Why? Well, if you die over here, you don't owe anybody any money. Nobody needs your income because they're all grown, and you left them millions of dollars in cash. They're going to be okay, right? Okay, everybody following that? So life insurance was never meant to be there for your whole life. It was meant to be there for a time, right, until your assets grow and your dependents and liabilities go away. And once you cross here in the middle, where you have enough of your own money saved and too little debt or dependence, you are now what's called self-insured. How many of you would continue to pay auto insurance on a car you sold? Well, that's what whole life insurance is continuing to pay insurance for something you don't need to insure anymore. Why? Because you got all the money yourself. Everybody following that? Okay, watch this. Let me show you this next slide here. Two sorts of life insurance. Something called whole life or cash value insurance. So here's cash value, whole life. If it has more than one word, it's this. That's a good way to understand it, okay? If it's more than one word long, it's this. So here's John, age 30. Here's Mary, age 30. $150,000 of life insurance apiece. Which, by the way, is not enough today, right? 150 grand's not going to last a family a real long time. Okay? Monthly premium, $295 a month for this whole life insurance, okay? So it's an insurance and a savings plan together. Very expensive. So if they die, they get 150 grand. At age 65, the savings has built to $124,000. So they die, they get 150. They don't die, they can cancel the policy and get 124. Everybody following that? Okay, that's how whole life works. So we teach a concept called buy term and invest the difference. Remember, life insurance only needs to be there for a time, a term. So what we do is we get them a 35-year term. That's good for how long? 35. See, you guys would be perfect at this, right? I mean, I know it sounds like rocket science. A 35-year term is good for 35 years, okay? So John and Mary, same couple, is able to get $400,000 apiece. Better than 150, right? Okay? The monthly premium is only $126 a month for that. So just on the insurance side, if your pitch was, hey, switch from here to here, we'll give you 3 times more coverage for 1/3 the price. Okay? That would be a pretty good pitch, right? Most people would buy that. Well, so watch. Go back it up a little bit so I can see it on the screen here. Okay, so it's not blacked out. Go ahead and go back over here. So if you take a look at what happens here, that saves $169 a month. They were paying what? $295. So what are they still going to pay? $295, part to insurance and part to their own investment account. 35 years from now at age 65, the cash value is worth how much money? $500,000. Same dollars, guys. Same dollars. And if they switch and die, they get 3 times more coverage. They switch and outlive, they get 3 times more. Better or better? Okay? If you showed this sort of insurance and this sort of insurance, same monthly amount, to 10 people who wanted to protect their family, and you said, hey, pick this one or this one, how many of the 10 would pick this side?
All of them.
10.
All of them.
All of them. Folks, 9 out of 10 people who have life insurance in America today do not have this. They have this. Why? Because they don't know any better. Folks, that is an opportunity. If you could show somebody what I just showed you, how many of them would switch? The answer is almost all. There's still some special ones out there, okay, but almost all. They're good with a calculator. They're going to switch, okay? Watch this. Go ahead and go to the next slide here. So you take that money at 65, your 500 grand cash. Your term insurance goes away. That's all right. Why? You're 65. Your children aren't grown adults. You've been debt-free for years. If you saved the money on the debt, you'd already have a few million in addition to the 500 grand. But watch this. Once you reach age 65, self-insured, now you can get rid of the insurance payment and invest all the money every month, right? At age 70, that's $806,000. Folks, this is $1 million difference to the average family in America, and not one of them knows about it. Not one of them knows about it. Here's the best part about this. Our market right now, 2%. 2 out of every 100 people walking out there on the street have their finances with us, have done a financial plan through us, and have learned this. The other 98%, no clue. They either have nothing or they have the wrong thing that somebody else sold them. Is everybody following that? That is an opportunity of epic proportions. You and I could work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and never put a dent in that market, folks. That's unbelievable. Go ahead and go on to that next slide. So the second question that I had asked you, right? First one was, is it a legitimate company, right? Second one was, is there a need in the market for this information?
Yeah.
The answer is unequivocally yes. Folks, they needed it yesterday and last week, and they need it today, right? Okay? So that's yes. Question number 3 was what? Could I do it? Right? So let's go ahead and look at this activity plan to make $250,000 a year, okay? So we're going to go through this. So by Sunday night at 8 o'clock, you have 6 right market kitchen table appointments. What's a right market kitchen table appointment? That's sitting with somebody either married or divorced, right? Has kids, has a home, and has a job that may benefit from some of this information. 6 of those set for the week, okay? So watch the math here. You've got 6 set for the week. There are 4 weeks in a month. That means you set 24 of these kitchen tables in a month. Everybody follow so far? Half of them are going to cancel or reschedule. Something comes up, kid's sick, forgot about the soccer game. Half are going to reschedule. So that's 12. Of the 12 you go on, okay, if you're the worst agent in the world, 6 of those 12 are going to say, yes, switch me. I'm tired of being taken advantage of. I want to save all this money. 6 become insurance clients, and 3 of those 12 people say, you know what? I'd love to make a little bit extra money. I'm open to trying this on the side. So 3 become recruits. Everybody following? Okay, so watch this. Here's how you do. 6 insurance clients, average life insurance client. Remember the plan we showed you, $126 a month? Average family is not even paying that. They're paying about $1,000 a year or $83 a month. Husband, wife, kids, whole deal. Okay? So $6,000 sales, that's $6,000 in personal sales. 2 to 3 of those same 6 life insurance clients will have something called a 401k rollover. They left their job, they got a little bit of money over there, they need to move it. 2 to 3 of them will set up monthly IRAs to get the rule of 72 working for them. 2 to 4 will switch their auto and home insurance, another service we provide. Okay, a couple of them will set up wills. So take a look at how this works. This is going to result in $2,000 to $4,000 a month of part-time personal income. Now, why the discrepancy? Because it's a pretty big discrepancy. It's like half, right? Okay? If all you have is the insurance license, you're going to make on the bottom end of this. If you have the insurance and the investment license, you're going to make on the top end of this. Okay, so last month I had 2 different guys in my organization make between $12,000 and $15,000 in one transaction on the investment side of the business. Okay, so you're an example leader to the team and the whole company. Okay, and this is not a few people doing this; many, many, many people doing this on a part-time basis. So here's how you make $200,000 a year doing this. Okay, so you and 5 other people. Not 100, not 50, not 20, not 10. You and how many?
5.
You and 5 equals how many?
6.
Okay, very good. You guys are doing good. Okay. So you and 5 other people have 6 kitchen tables set for the week by Sunday night. So watch the math. 6 kitchen tables set, right? Equals 36. You and the 5 other people. They're 4 weeks. So you and your team set 144 for the month. Everybody following? Half are going to reschedule. So your team is going to get on 72. Okay? Half of them are going to become clients. So you get 36 clients, and a quarter of those people are going to join, right? Somewhere around 18 people say, yeah, I'll try this part-time. I know some people who could probably use it. Okay? That's 36 insurance clients, right? 12 to 18 of those people are going to become 401k clients. IRAs, right? It's the same people. They're just getting multiple product lines with us. Everybody following? Okay? This is going to be $200,000 a year worth of income to you. Okay? So now you're happy, right? And your spouse is even happier. Okay? And if you're not yet married, you soon will be, okay? So go ahead and go to the next slide. So $200,000 is just not enough for you. I understand. I feel your pain. Okay, let me show you how this works. 6 people doing that is a $200,000 a year income. Okay, 12 people doing that, 400,000. 18, 600,000. 24, all the way up to 30, that's $1 million a year income. Folks, I'm not a professor telling you how I think it works. I actually have done this. That's how I did this, okay? It's exactly what I'm showing you. The key is consistency and following the system. So any of you ever eaten here? Okay? You could, boy, some of you are like ashamed to say, yeah. So we're going to play a game here, okay? We're going to play a game. It's really important that you play along, okay? If you don't play along, I'm going to come out there and I'm going to embarrass you, okay? So I need you all to just play along with me for a second. I want you all to close your eyes. Don't worry, I'm not going to run up and down the aisle stealing your wallets. I'm okay. I don't need your money. All right? You're driving down I-75. You're hungry. You're like, man, I'm starving. Up in the distance, you see the Golden Arches. You're like, I don't want to do this, but I'm so hungry. You pull off the exit ramp. Your heart's pounding. Don't do it, don't. But you walk in. You smell the golden fries. You walk up to the 15-year-old at the register. Standing at the register with your eyes closed, I want you to point and remain pointing to the menu. Where's the menu? Everybody point and remain pointing to the menu. Now open your eyes and look around. Where's everybody in this room pointing? All right, okay. Close your eyes again. Close your eyes. Point to the fry machine. Where is the fry machine? All right, now open your eyes and all look at where you're all pointing. Okay. Close your eyes one more time. You ate the fries, and now you're getting that rumble down under, and you're like, woo, somebody's going to owe that toilet some money when I'm done with it. And you just run, you make a beeline, standing at the counter. Point to the bathrooms. Where are the bathrooms? Everybody open your eyes, look where every one of you is pointing. Raise your hand if you've ever built a McDonald's. Raise your hand if you own a McDonald's. Take a look, no hands. But yet, every single one of you could describe in pretty accurate detail how to build and structure a McDonald's. Why? It's a system, right? There's a 2-year wait list to own a McDonald's. It's between $1 million and $2 million to buy one, right? Why? Because the owner makes $150,000 a year in passive income because it's a system 15-year-olds can run. I'll prove it to you. Leave here and go to the McDonald's when you're done and ask to talk to the owner. What's the kid going to say behind the counter? He's not here. Why? Because he has a system creating residual income. Does McDonald's have the best hamburgers? No. Right? But why is it the most profitable restaurant on the planet Earth? Because of the system that you or anybody else could figure out. It's a sure deal. Any of you ever seen a McDonald's go out of business?
No.
Why? The system. You following that? Okay? It's not about how good of a burger you can make. It's can you follow the McDonald's system? That's going to dictate your success in McDonald's. Well, it's not about how good of a salesperson you are, how much you understand about financial products. It's can you follow the Primerica system? So let's go and take a look at the Primerica system. Okay? Here's our warm market system. So I'm going to play along here. Who's here for the first time? They've not been here before. So what's your name? Anna? Anna, nice to meet you, okay? So you and I have not met before, right? Correct. Okay, very good. Do you have a cell phone on you, Anna? I do. Okay, will you pull it out and show everybody? Okay, she's digging for it. Good job, girl, you got it. That thing's buried way down there. Okay, very good. So you got a cell phone, okay? Now let me ask you a question, Anna. Do you think that it's possible that there's at least one person in that cell phone that would like to make more money than they're currently making? Okay, everybody, but at least one. Okay, so now you don't really know what you're doing because you're new, but I know what I'm doing. So you and I are going to call that one, and we're going to sit down with him, and I'm going to recruit him onto your team. Okay, so watch what's going to happen here. We're going to take your one guy, okay, we're going to get one recruit, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to have that recruit, Anna, can you read this? Make a what? A top 25 list. A list of people they know that may want to do better with their finances than they're doing right now. Most of you know hundreds or thousands of people who would like to do better financially than they're doing right now. But we get your one guy, we have to make a top 25 list. Out of that 25, 10 to 15 will meet with us, right? And then you just run the number. 6 to 8 of those people will become sales, right? 3 to 4 will be new recruits. So Anna, what do you think we're going to do with those 3 new recruits? We're going to have them make a... Top 25. Okay, so if you're any good at math, right? 3 recruits who did 25 people on a list is what? A top 75 list. That's going to get 30 appointments, 18 clients, 9 recruits. Now, what are we going to do with the 9 recruits, Anna? We're going to have them make a top 25 list, right? So that becomes 225, 90 appointments, 50 sales, 25 recruits. What are we going to do with the 25 recruits, Anna? We're going to help them make a... No. That's the deal. It should be harder. Fries on the left, bathrooms on the right. What do? What's our warm market system? We make a list, we qualify the list, right? And we go see the list. That's what we do. Seems like it should be harder. Folks, it's not hard to make big money. You just got to get a good system and follow it, okay? So go ahead and go to the next slide here. And I want you to think about this, right? Can you see how you'll always have people to see? Right? It just keeps going. Run that, and eventually you have thousands and thousands of people to see. You have more people to see than you would ever have time to see. You never run out. So that's cool. It sounds like you and a few people have done this, right? So take a look at this track record of success. Okay? This is in a year. This is not lifetime earnings. This is in 1 year. Okay? Since 1977, we've got 6,800 guys making at least $50,000 a year, 3,400 making at least $100,000 a year. 80, it's now 86. This is already out of date since it came out earlier this year. 86 people making $1 million plus a year. I'm one of those, okay? 2 million, 1 million, okay? That's good. And most people think, well, in one of these deals, you kind of got to get in early. All the early people make all the money. Not so. Watch this. This is the amount of this number that has joined since the year 2000. So remember, we started in what? 1977, okay? About 2/3 of the people making big money are not the original people. They're people like me who joined in 2006 and learned the system. Everybody following that? Okay? So listen, folks, I make more than every person above me in my line between me and the company. It's not about you. It's about how well you can follow the system. Question number 3 was, can I do it? Okay? So here's how you answer that. Do you have one person that would like to make more than they're making now? If yes, yes, you can do it. If no, don't do it. Okay? So question number 4 was what? Would it be worth it? Would it be worth it for me to put time and effort and energy into learning this business? Okay, so I'm going to share with you some pictures of my life, and I want you to hear loud and clear. This is not to brag to you. Bragging would be, look at my stuff you'll never get. That's what celebrities do, right? Okay? And other things. Okay, I'm showing you this because you can have all this and more. right? Okay, so go ahead and go to this slide. This is what I looked like when I started in this business. That is a silver spiked mohawk. So take a look around the room. There's not one of you who looks that bad. Okay? So you are all starting at a severe, right, an extreme advantage over how I started, right? Can't you just see me? Let me help you with your life's investments. Who wouldn't want to give their investments to that guy, right? So that's what I look like. So this is some of my stuff. So I've got a pretty picked out Corvette. My license plate says PFS Works for Primerica Financial Services, for all the people who told me I'd never make a dollar and I shouldn't get involved, right? My friends and family, right? They worked a job. They had followed the broken path, right? They thought that this wasn't going to work for me, right? And so now when I drive by them 100 miles an hour on the freeway, they know who it was. Okay, go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is my Range Rover. This is actually out in the parking lot. It doesn't look like that because I live on a dirt road, so it's like brown right now. But you can go check it out, okay? That was like my favorite SUV. I just had to get one of those when they changed the body style. This is my wife's Mercedes GLS 450. It's a big truck. Okay, so that's her winter ride. And then that's her in her summer ride. She's got the Jeep souped up lifted Rubicon with the big like gunner tires, and I mean that thing is bad, right? Okay, like everybody got stopped when they see that thing pull up. They're like, bro, that's like, they compliment on that way more than any of the other three. Okay, so this is my house. So I have like a 19-acre estate. I've got 1,000-foot of lake frontage on Crotchet Lake in Holly, which is a public all-sports lake. You drive whatever boat you want on. So any of you know about lakefront property in Michigan, that's the most expensive property you can buy. I got 19 acres on it. Okay, so this is the house that's on it right now. Oh, go back. Oh, no, that's even more back. So that's the house that's on it right now. And so it's 5,000 square foot ranch. We sold a 6,000 square foot house in Clarkson, so I was like downsized. But we knew we didn't even really care what the house was, right? Because we were going to build our dream house. So actually, tomorrow, they start digging the hole for a 13,500 square foot French lake estate that's going on the hill. This is a little bit bigger, right? So that's the front of the house, and then that's the back of the house on the lake, right? And so people said, what are you going to do with the other house? Well, I'm keeping it, right? And so that's the guest house. So that's where my mother-in-law is going to come and live, and so we'll have 3 extra bedrooms in that house where y'all can come stay with us, but don't need to stay in my house, right? Go to the next slide. So this is my Florida house. I have a house. Any of you ever dreamed of having an island house? I have a house on an island in Florida called Siesta Key. It's actually the #1 beach in the United States. Okay, so this is my like little winter getaway. I just got back about 2 weeks ago. I came back 2 weeks too early. So we've decided we're not coming back till May next year, but I spend about 3 months, 3.5 months a year in Florida in the wintertime. How many of you dislike the cold? Folks, you got to get out of that, right? Now, if you have an option, right, wouldn't you go live somewhere warm when you could? Well, you have that option here by building this business. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So all the stuff's cool, houses are cool, cars are cool. I'm not going to lie to you and say that that stuff's not cool. The really cool stuff is the intangibles. So this was something that we really wanted to do for a while. I came out of the church. I worked at the church. One of the pastor's kids, his wife, ended up opening a ministry called Angel House. They were actually on like some game show and some other stuff, raising money for it. And what they do is they build orphanages in India. And so in India, it's different than in the United States. In the United States, there are like welfare programs, and you know, you can get into schools if you're homeless or you're in foster care. And if you work hard and you develop yourself and you get around the right people, you can make whatever you want out of your life, right? Okay, in America. In India, that's not the case. If you're homeless as a child, you can't go to school because you don't have an address. So you basically become this sort of serf class of community, and you can never get out. You're trapped there forever. And so what these guys do is they go and they build orphanages, and they partner with local churches in India, and the churches provide house parents and food and backpacks and an address and get them in school. Okay, and you put 25 kids in that house. They go into that house. They live there till they're 18. And so many of these kids don't even have names. They don't know their birthdays. They've been on the street since they are old enough to remember. And they come off the street. They have a family for the first time in their life. They get into school. They get an education. They get taught the Bible. For those of you who have a spiritual background, right? They get, and they grow up with a chance. And so we saw that, we loved it. We said we want to do something like that. So a couple of years ago, we pulled the team together. We set some goals. And after the meeting, if you go look, there's a plaque on the wall over there. Go read it. because we were able to open an Angel House orphanage. Right now, there are 25 kids on the other side of the world that didn't have a house, didn't have a family, didn't have an address. Some of them didn't have a name, who now have a hope and a future because of people who were able to live beyond where they were living now. The truth is, most of us have a hard enough time taking care of ourselves. And we love to do stuff like this, but we can't even think about it. And folks, that's the reality here. Go ahead and go to this next slide. This is a big deal. That's my wife and my 3 kids and her mom. And so my wife grew up, her dad was an alcoholic, abused drugs, was pretty abusive, just kind of an absentee father. They ended up getting divorced. He died at 47 years old. His body just shut down from all the drugs and alcohol. And so her mom basically raised her essentially as a single mom. And to top that off, her younger brother, Bobby, who's 3.5 years younger, was born with a disease called cystic fibrosis. I don't know if any of you ever heard of that. But it's a terminal illness where basically there is no cure and you suffocate to death. And when Bobby was born in the 80s, the life expectancy for a child with CF was 5. Right? And so there's still no cure today, but the medicine's come a long way, different things like that. He's actually had a double lung transplant. But her mom spent Christmases, every other Christmas basically, in the hospital, at Children's Hospital in Detroit, fighting for his life. Okay, I mean, he had one heck of a battle, and that woman had to take care of the house, provide, keep the family together, and take care of him. And so she sold real estate and decided she would get a full-time job as a bus driver for the school district of Brandon, and she would get up at 4 a.m. every morning, drive buses on the dirt roads for 19 years to have the insurance she needed for Bobby's prescription medications are almost $50,000 a month, right? And so this woman was self-sacrifice, never did anything for her. She spent her whole life taking care of kids, and so this is a big deal for her. Not this last December, but actually almost 18 months ago now, my kids and my wife were able to walk into the bus garage. They call her Mo, and they brought her flowers and balloons, and they came in and they said, "Congratulations, you don't work here anymore. You retired." So at 55 years old, we retired her mom, and she's on our payroll. Her job is grandma. My CPA still gives me a hard time about it. I said, "Hey, you gotta tell the truth, right? It's grandma, right?" And it was such an incredible thing. She posted on Facebook, "Headed off to retire my mom after 19 years of bus driving. Primerica works." Folks, we couldn't take care of ourselves when we started this business, let alone be able to provide for people on the other side of the world, take the people who matter most in our lives and be heroes to them. Who would you love to do something like that for in your life? What sort of causes would you love to make a difference for, right? And I'm going to close with this. You know, I'm going to take you on a trip down memory lane. It's 1958. You're in a little room, a bunch of people, and you're in Southern California, and there's a guy named Ray Kroc, and he's talking to you about an opportunity to change your life forever. And for only $900 tonight, you can buy your very own McDonald's. And we're going to change the world, and we're going to revolutionize the way people eat, and we're going to become wealthy together. But I'm only taking the first 4 or 5 of you. You need to know tonight, who's in? Guess what? Everybody sitting in that room told Ray Kroc in 1958, "Ray, this sounds like it could be incredible. I've been always waiting for an opportunity to change my life. I want to get out of my job anyways. This could be exactly what I'm looking for. But Ray, tonight, can I have a day or two to go home and think about it?" Right? Because that's what they train us in middle class school. Take your time on decision. Don't rush into life-changing opportunity. Be careful. How many of us tell Ray Kroc no? Nobody, right? We have the best intentions. But then we go home and life happens. Raise your hand if you're not busy. You just got all the time in the world. Look at those hands going up, right? Okay? You got a million reasons why to not get involved in this because of your time, etc. And those are the exact reason you need to get involved in this. Because you don't have any time, and you don't have any money. And you'll probably not be able to do any of those things without something like this, okay? And so how many of you who know about Ray Kroc and McDonald's would gladly go back and buy 2 or 3 for $900 a piece, which is what are you selling them for when you open, right? That's called hindsight. It's always what? 2020. Would've, could've, should've. Fast forward, it's 1973, you meet a guy named Steve Jobs. He's like, "You gotta check out this garage." He shows you a bunch of nerds, big old Coke glasses. They're working on these little things. Like, "What is this, Steve?" He's like, "This is called a computer." I had never heard of that. He's like, "Trust me, one day you will, and it will change the world." And I'm out of money, and I got an order due on Monday, and I can't pay these guys we're growing so fast, payrolls are, the advances are shut off from my line of credit. I need $3,000 right now. Take out your check and write me a check for $3,000. Okay, and I'll pay you back in 30 days. I'll give you 10% of the company, because if I don't have this money, there is no company on Tuesday. So I need you right now. Okay, guess what all of you would have told Steve Jobs in his little garage in California, looking at people starting to change the world? Wow, this could change my life like that. This could be exactly what I'm looking for. I don't want to work a job for 40 years and do nothing with my life. But Steve, today, can I have a day or two to go home and think about it? How many of you told Steve Jobs no? Nobody. You had the best of intentions, right? Okay, but you go home and what happens? Life happens, right? Just goes on. How many of you who know about Steve Jobs and Apple would gladly go back, write him that check for $3,000 for 10% of the company? You'd be worth 75, 80 billion right now. Would have, could have, should have. Fast forward, it's 1983, you meet a guy named Bill Gates. He's like, you know those computers, like, let me tell you about a deal I screwed up 10 years ago, right? He says, well, you can redeem yourself. Now I'm writing software. All these things are going to run off it for 30 years and be the richest person in the world. And honestly, dude, Chase, I don't even care what you do for work. Quit your job right now and show up at Microsoft tomorrow. We'll find something for you to do. I'll match your salary. I'll pay you $50,000 a year in stock options. If we keep growing like we're growing right now, we're all going to be wealthy. Guess what all of you would have told Bill Gates? Bill! It sounds incredible. It sounds like everything I ever wanted. I want to do something special with my life. I want to make a difference. I want to be my own. I want to be in control of money. I'm tired of money controlling me. I want to wake up and call my own shots, not be told where to go as a grown adult every day for the rest of my life. But Bill, today, can I have a day or two to go home in? Think about it. And what happens? Life happens. How many of you who know about Bill Gates and Microsoft would gladly go back and scrub Microsoft toilets by hand for a few years for $50,000 a year in stock option? You be wealthy. Fast forward, it's 2018. It's 8:02 p.m. You're like, when is this guy going to stop talking? I got reruns of Empire. I have to go. And he's talking to you about an opportunity to change the world. Family by family by family. By changing their life through education. You can keep your job, start part-time, spare time, little time, no time. Doesn't matter. No quotas, no minimums. You get a world-class education, money and finance, right? And you get involved, and you start doing this spare time, part-time, 90 days in. You're like, my gosh, I'm one of those number ones that guy talked about. I hate helping people. I show them this, they're hugging me, I'm germaphobe, it's just not working. And then they send me these checks. I gotta cash them. Who has time for that? Right? And you quit. Say, that's not for me. 90 days from now, here's the worst thing that happened to you. Number one, you've got a world-class education in money and finance. How many of you learned something about money and finance tonight? Okay? By a show of hands, how many of you feel like in today's day and age it would be good to be better educated in money and finance than you currently are? Second thing, you get tax deductions on things you do now, like eat food and drive cars, use a cell phone. How many of you feel, by a show of hands, it would be better to pay less in taxes than you currently pay? Okay, wonderful. The third thing you get is a spare tire. Many of you have a spare tire in your car. Why is it there? Just shout it out.
In case you get a flash.
It's a case, right? But ironically, many of us don't have a spare tire for our income. Just in case we get laid off, downsized, right-sized, get taken out by Amazon, Uber, or whatever's coming next that's coming after what you do for a living, right? And you have a spare tire and the ability to make money at will. Don't have to ask anybody's permission. Don't have to interview. You got knowledge, skill set, a license, the ability to help people, and help yourself. In today's economy, the gig economy, no such thing as 30 and out. How many of you, by a show of hands, feel it would be better to have more control over how you earn your income than have no control over how you earn your income? Folks, if those are the worst things that happen to you in 90 days, this isn't for you, I submit to you, you're better off than you are right now. Yes or yes?
Yeah.
What's the flip side? Maybe, just maybe, you end up like me. I don't know if you will work as hard as I did. I don't know if you'll learn as much as I learned. But here's what I know. Maybe is better than impossible. Yes or yes, right? Okay? Here, it's at least possible for you to have whatever you want in your life. And I don't believe that you're after what I'm after necessarily, but whatever you're after, with control of time and money, you got a better shot at it than you have now, right? So I encourage you to decide today to get started with us on a part-time basis if you haven't already. If you already have, get started. Get on some appointments. Go see some people and watch how we change lives. But if you haven't gotten started, hey, don't leave here today saying, I need to think about it. Take some action. Bet on yourself, right? Because here's the truth. Many of you will look back at 70 years old with not enough money saved, still in debt, scared to death that you're going to get your job outside, outsourced, put overseas, given to 3 college kids that will work for half the money, right? And you'll look back on this night and you'll wonder, and you will, I wonder what would have happened if I just tried that thing. Tried it and it wasn't for me, I could sleep easy at night. But 70 years old, dwindling opportunities for making money, not enough saved, and having to wonder what could have been, I don't know if I'd be okay with that. I hope and pray you guys get involved with us. Thanks for your time tonight. God bless you. We'll talk to you soon.